Andrew Seeley loves VAR.
No, I don't. I'm not a fan.
That is
every day he
slander.
comes in, he's like, man, I love VAR.
I can confirm that.
I'm going to start saying
Jonah
Jonah
Every
loves
day?
hot dogs after this show.
How
and
dare
see how
you.
long. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what this is leaning into. No, so this is turning into a hot button topic, not just because of the Balogun situation where the U.S. is concerned, but also because of last night. And I don't know how, first of all, who here actually watched the Croatia-Portugal game last night?
Yeah, it looked like Croatia got the equalizer in the
102nd,
307th minute.
Which
yeah.
was insane that they let it go on that long. It was like 2 minutes past.
Because we
the end
need
of
to
stoppage
show
time.
the actual amount of time. This is an insane thing we do in soccer.
I absolutely agree with you 100%. If you're gonna be not specific on time, you can't be specific in other specific areas. It's just annoying. Either way,
By the time this World Cup is over, we will have all fixed this sport.
But here was essentially why they disallowed the game-tying goal. Because they had a graph at the bottom of the screen that there's a chip in the ball that registers when contact is made. So the graph shows specifically that there is a bump in terms of where contact starts. So they are essentially ironing out to the decimal point in terms of a second and trying to line up and make something that is a judgment call more of a ironclad situation, right? Here's the issue. And this is what a lot of people try to point out here.
Pretty cool.
The discrepancy boils down to this. There is a margin of error in terms of how VAR is operated. It is accounted for, supposedly. But on that graph, if you'll notice, the question where the ball is, it grazes, potentially, the Croatian player's head and hits a Portuguese player's head. Whether or not the play was offside boils down to whether it hit the Croatian player's head first. On that graph, there's only one hit. And it is a bang-bang play. If the graph is accurate, you should see two marks, two bumps. So people are even looking at this and saying there is a margin of error even in this point with a chip in the ball that it does not necessarily or should not boil down to, I see bump on line, that should be okay. So with VAR and how specific it gets and how razor-thin these margins are, that there's not even a little bit of room for error in this feels wrong. Or at least there needs to be a little bit more transparency in how the process comes out, and also an appeals process, which is the whole thing where Balogun's concerned. It's too soon, and at the same time, I want more of this technology in other sports. It's this weird aspect where if they can do this and rely on this, why isn't basketball doing this? Why isn't football doing this? And we're using chains still to try and do first down.
And 70-year-old men just lining up a ball
It's an insane
arbitrarily.
situation.
Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword, but everyone should be using the double-edged sword. That's my point. It's weird.
I don't know. I feel like it goes there becomes a point where you have to draw the line. Like I think
With
initially the point with VAR was to help try to answer some of these questions that are more subjective and make them more objective. And they've used technology to be able to do that. I get it. But at a certain point, you're like, how far do we push this down the line to where it literally just takes away from the game? Imagine if there was an appeals process in the stoppage time window, right? Like, how are you going to appeal what ultimately would have completely changed the outcome of that game?
Yeah.
After the fact, you would have needed to do it literally during stoppage time, which isn't going to happen.
Oh, there have been a lot of. I mean, I'll go back to the
They
Hail
can
Mary
do it.
in the NFL.
Every other sport does, and when you have a review, you stop the clock.
Well, that, yes, yes.
But no, like so I'll give you a prime example. The Hail Mary when it happened between the Packers and Seahawks, the NFL came out and said, "Hey, they got the call wrong," and nothing changed. Well, I suppose the thing that changed is they brought actual officials back because that was kind of the initial issue with that whole thing. But that aside, they're not going to overturn it. All they can do is say, "We're sorry."
Yeah.
That's not a real answer, but that's
Correct.
the only answer you're ever going to get out of this.
Not a good answer, especially when you have someone's legendary career ending in that setting as well.
Yeah,
Potentially,
that's,
yeah.
For Modric, that is just, it's brutal. He
yeah.
looked so upset by it, too. It's just a level of frustration that it's not only just the result. It's that they went and did the whole celebration. There's this elation, this jubilation. Croatia's got the equalizer. They're not dead yet. Hold on, let's go check our VAR technology that's not 100% accurate.
That measured a
And pull your goal.
piece
and
of hair touching the ball.
there needs there needs to be a balance. I'm very pro technology when it comes to officiating, but some things don't. There just has to be a level of, I don't even know.
Well, no, what it is you want the umpires from Major League Baseball to say, we have the technology, we're just not going to it all the time. Like, that's part of this, Mike. What's your main takeaway? How have you interpreted and absorbed all of the VAR nonsense?
Honestly, the biggest takeaway I've got from seeing that little graph on the screen is we need that for basketball out of bounds. How many times are we watching a clip and we're trying to see, did that graze fingertips? Did that catch just barely? Is there a little brush and can you see the finger move? If we got that graph, there's the mark. Now, to your point, Andrew, if there's a double hit, you should see 2 marks. We didn't see 2 marks on that graph, so that leads you to believe that maybe it didn't hit the Croatian player's head and only hit the
Portuguese,
I'm sorry, who
yes.
the heck were they playing? The other team's head, the Portugal head. So, like, there's that needs to be more granularly evaluated. But if you put that in a lot of these other sports where you have that kind of bang-bang play, and now you can point to a graph that is synced up with and in that situation, ideally, you'd have all of it physically there at the stadium, not all the way back here in Dallas at the International Broadcast Center where a lot of this VAR stuff is happening. If you have all of it centrally located at the stadium or at the arena where the game is played, and you can verifiably link up the timelines for play and graph, video and graph, and be able to say definitively that is the mark at which the ball was touched, this could clear up a lot of things. So there's application in a lot of our professional sports here where we could use a lot of this and maybe make some of these reviews faster rather than having to look at 14 different angles to see that finger bend. No, there's the graph. We're done here. Move on. Because that's the biggest thing is make them faster. If you're going to do these reviews, make them faster. There's some in that Wings game last night. Oh, my goodness. They were 5-6 minute long reviews. Let's go already.
There's just something tough about these massive emotional moments in sports. And it's what we live for as fans. It's what we live to watch. It's why we love to watch. And to have them robbed over and over again by technology and officiating, and I know it's in an attempt to get it right.
So you want the rule of cool?
Pretty much. I want there to be a dude. I just want a dude.
It was cool. It should stand.
They should have somebody in that VAR room where there's the 3 guys that all look militant and they're all like this and don't look at the camera. There needs to just be a dude with a beer in the corner of that room just being like,
Vibes say.
Let it go.
Sponsored by Buffalo Wild Wings.
all officiating and decisions should strictly be made based off vibes. That's my stance.
And on that note,
Just imagine how much better sports would be.
what a way to end the VAR discussion.
Jez would have caught it. Portugal and Croatia would still be playing in extra time.
Literally, right now.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
No. Shall we?
They're in the 147th round of the penalty kicks.
Luka Modric is now 95 years old.
They've started subbing in fans to see if they can take them because no one else can take them.
I always got Willem Dafoe and Luka Modric confused when I was a kid. And that's something that maybe
I wouldn't
Andrew
have put
long
those
way.
two on the same plane, but now I kind of see it. I
Yeah,
guess.
kind of, yes.
All right.